starting to transition a little bit towards prepping for Auburn now, it looks like.
Yes, yes. So we're splitting the practice in half Auburn, half, still good on good, us against us. So practice split in half, but it was a fun, energetic practice.
We talked about Thomas last time we spoke with you and just his leadership. But how much have you seen from him over the course of fall camp and just that leadership aspect?
It's not just Thomas. I mean, that's the good thing. We got a lot of guys back there that even though they're young, they played a lot of football. So, I mean, leadership by committee. A lot of those guys are leading the right way and they're doing things the right way and they will continue to progress and do things the right way.
DJ James, coming up as a freshman, what have you made of him this fall camp?
I mean, just like all freshmen, he's had some great days and he has some so-so days. But that's the biggest thing. You get used when you get to this level, everybody on the team is good. They're all on scholarship or they're all here for a reason. And since they're all here for a reason, it's no playoff ever. And the way that we practice is never going to be a dull moment where you get a chance to stand around. So if it is like a little walkthrough, it's still so high mental that you're not off. You're still going at full tilt.
What's Triquez's role right now? Is he with you? Is he safeties? Where do you kind of see him coming in?
Right now, he's with the corners right now, but he's been back and forth. So he's definitely a guy that can help us as a safety and as a corner. And, he's just picking up the defense and getting more, adapted to being a DB.
Andy said when he first went over there, it was out of necessity. You were low on bodies over there. But what did you see during a couple of days there that made you say, hey, maybe let's keep him here a little bit?
I mean, it's hard to find guys that big that can move and, what they feed. And once he uses his length, what God gave him, those long levers, he puts his hand on people and he's taking them out of bounds. And, that's a hard guy to throw the ball over when it's cover two and it's a big body. It's hard for, a receiver to block him. You got most DBs nowadays, when the receivers block him, they're so much bigger. You see Bridges out there, he's bigger than all the wide receivers. So, I mean, he's good out there at corner.
And in a group with a lot of guys in his class there. I mean, you've got a few true and redshirt freshmen out there. So
yeah, I mean, there's a couple guys out there, and they're all battling. They're all getting better, and, they're going to continue to progress. But the good thing is that they got two guys that are juniors that's played a lot of football. So they're getting led the right way, and, we got some safeties that have been around for a minute. So a lot of those guys are progressing a lot faster because it's not just Coach Hayward, myself, or Coach Avalos, or any other coach coaching them. It's the fact that some of the players could actually coach the players.
And DJ keeps coming along.
Yes, he's doing a good job.
Other than Quiz, I mean, guys playing 7-7 and guys playing all-star games against bigger competition. But in high school, I mean, he was at a small school.
Right.
I mean, the competition's a lot different, even in practice here, compared to what he was seeing each week. How has he been able to go up against far greater competition day to day here than he did ever in high school?
The biggest thing is, like I was talking about earlier, a little bit about DJ James. He just, once he realizes that it's no playoff, because every guy he's going against is good. No matter how bad somebody else may think they are, that guy actually can still run, he can still catch, he can still run a route, or the guy can still block, or whatever the case may be. So just a simple factor is he's knowing that he's not good enough to do a play half speed. Every play has to be full speed, and that's for everybody on defense. And once you go full speed, you're going to get great results.
How did he assert himself in the scrimmage situation? Were you pleased with kind of how he handled himself out there on Saturday?
I've been pleased pretty much with all the guys. They've been all, getting better. That's the biggest thing, because some days they're not going to be as good or pretty as you would like for them to. But the biggest thing is to learn from the mistake. When a guy makes a mistake and he doesn't learn from it, that's when it's an issue or a problem. But when he learns from it and he pushes forward and he continues to get better, then I am pleased.
Does it feel like a change in the camp? You mentioned you're looking at Auburn a little bit more. Is there like a noticeable change now, or kind of how you perceive the way the practice feels?
The biggest thing is when we go against ourselves, we really don't, scheme ourselves.
Right.
So we don't really watch film as far as like an opponent when we go against ourselves. We more watch film to get us better and to make sure we understand the checks and schematics of the defense, inside out. Now when you start dealing with Auburn, it's like now you're getting ready for an opponent. So you're going to look at what that team particularly does, and we're going to adjust our scheme to fit them and stop them.
What have you seen from that wide receiver group in particular, from the Auburn wide receiver group?
I mean, just like everybody else we play. They're good, and they're big, they're fast. So it definitely will be a threat and be a challenge for us that we're looking forward to.
Seth Williams in particular is a pretty big target. They like to put him in the slot. He's undoubtedly their best pass catcher. What kind of threat does he provide by that?
To be honest, all those guys look good. When you watch film, they all can run. They all look like they have adequate size. Of course, just like any other receiving group, some are bigger than others, but they all can play. So, we're going to have to be on our A game, and we're going to do everything to make sure those guys are prepared to be on their A game.
With some of the injuries at receivers, has there been any jockeying to get Dawood some time at offense, or is he full-time DB right now?
It's always like Coach Cristobal say, he's in the business. You got to make sure you can roster manage. And, whatever, decision he makes, later on about our roster, whatever, I know he has the good of the team in mind and the good of the player in mind. So that's one thing that's different here than other places. A lot of guys just do only what's good for the team, because Cristobal is always going to look at what's also good for the player. So it's a good thing to have when a coach actually cares so much about the player and the team. So he's going to look at both of those options.